Okay, guys, let's go over the review that we had of determining if something is a function. So that says determine if these points are functions, and I have 3, -2, 1, 9, and 0, 8. So first of all, we are going to use mapping. And remember, with mapping, it needs to go in order from smallest to largest. So if you need to rearrange them, rearrange them. So usually when we set this out, we make 2 ovals kind of side by side. And then I'm going to start to look at the points I have. Because remember, X is going to go here and Y is going to go here. So I have 3, 1, and 0 for my X values. So if I put them in order, 0 is the smallest, then 1, and then 3. Now if I look at my X's, I have -2, 9, and 8. So in order, it would be -2, 8, and 9. Okay, now I'm going to go through and pair them up based on what the points are. So if it's 3, -2, I draw a line that goes from 3 to -2, and the arrow is at the -2 end. Then 1 to -9 with the arrow pointing at the 9. And 0, 8. Okay, so to determine if it's a function, I have to look at each of the X values and determine if there's just one Y value that can match with it. So if I look at 0 for X, the only thing it can match up with is 8 for Y. So I know if it's 0 for X, it's going to be 8 for Y. That one's no disputing that. 1 for X matches up with only 9 for Y. So we're good on that one. 3 for X only matches with -2 for Y. So if we look at these, they completely pair up, and there's no doubt about which X goes with which Y. So this one, it is a function. And remember, we could say that this one is perfectly predictable. And that's because I know with every X exactly what Y pairs up with it. Okay, let's look at another set of points. So on this one, I have -1, 5, 8, 5, and 4, 5. So I'm going to set up my circles for mapping. Now I'm going to start to look at my points. So I have -1, 8, and 4 that are all going to be my X's, where X goes in this first one. So if I go from smallest to biggest, it's going to be -1, 4, and 8. Okay, now if I look at the Y's, every single one of these has a 5. So 5 is the only number that's going to go in the next one. Okay, now I need to start pairing them up. So -1, 5 is the first point, 8, 5 is the second one, and 4, 5 is the third. So if I look at this one, again, I'm looking at my argument of, if I have -1, do I know what it matches with for Y? And this one, I know it's going to be 5. If it's 4 for X, I know that also has to pair with 5. If I know it's 8, I know it has to pair up with 5. So on this one, I know it is a function. Again, this one is perfectly predictable. And remember, it is okay for Y's to repeat. This kind of fits with that, talking about the drive-in movie, and no matter how many people you had in your car, you all get in for the same price. It's kind of like that same idea in this one, but 5 would be the price. Okay, last set of points that we're going to look at. 5, 7, 5, 8, and 5, 4. So I'm going to set up my mapping here for X and Y. Now, if I look at all of my X's, they're all 5. So 5's the only one that goes here. But if I look at my y's, I have 7, 8, and 4. So in order, it would be 4, 7, and 8. Now if I go to pair them up, 5 matches with 4, with 7, and with 8. So remember our argument. If I'm looking at this x value, I should be able to predict where it goes. And I don't know because it actually pairs up with all of those. So this one, it is not a function. And the whole idea with this, it's not perfectly predictable. And our big issue in this is the x's repeat. If the x's repeat, we have a whole load of trouble. Okay, now the last one I want to look at is just a little bit more over the vertical line test. So here are two graphs that I have, and I want to determine if they're functions. So if they're functions, I should be able to take my highlighter and draw a straight line, and no matter where I draw it, it should only hit once. So on this first one, no matter where I would draw it, I can see it only hits one time, no matter where I would put it. So this, it is a function. And as far as the reason, we could say it passes the vertical line test. Now, if I look at the second one, it's not as much of an issue. I guess at least seeing that these two are only going to hit once. But if I went down this spot or this one, I could see how it could hit more than once. Now here it may only hit once, and that's fine, but if you can find even one place where it hits more than once, then it's not a function. So it's not a function. It does not pass the vertical line test. Okay, go over your foldable stuff and let me know if you have any issues.